Combs was found not guilty on count 1, racketeering conspiracy. As to count 2, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, which pertained to victim 1, Cassie Ventura, he was also found not guilty.
Guilty is guilty. Don't matter the charge. That's what 50 Cent posted after the Diddy verdict dropped, and it lit social media on fire. While some in Hollywood stayed silent, 50 didn't hold back. His words cut straight through the spin, calling out the system, the verdict, and everyone still protecting the man at the center of one of the industry's darkest scandals. The court cleared Sean Diddy Combs of sex trafficking charges. To 50 Cent, it was proof that power still protects the powerful. 50's reaction wasn't just a tweet, it was a statement. A reminder that he's been calling this out for years, while others looked away. As headlines broke and debates exploded online, his voice became one of the loudest and most unapologetic responses in the entertainment world. After months of investigation, lawsuits, and explosive allegations, the court finally delivered its verdict in Sean Diddy Combs' high-profile case. And it sent shockwaves through the industry.
With you now with some breaking celebrity dish news. Prosecutors have dropped some charges against Diddy.
The prosecution is saying, okay, so let's eliminate attempted kidnapping, attempted arson, and aiding and abetting sex trafficking.
Diddy was initially facing multiple serious federal charges, including sex trafficking, conspiracy to commit trafficking, violations of the Mann Act, facilitating prostitution, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. But when the verdict was read, only one charge stuck. Diddy was found guilty of facilitating and profiting from prostitution. All other charges, including the most serious one, sex trafficking, were dropped, with the court citing a lack of sufficient direct evidence to meet the legal threshold of coercion or force. Despite numerous testimonies and reports of manipulation, intimidation, and abuse, the jury found the case for trafficking legally unproven. The result? Diddy is now officially guilty of organizing illegal sex work, a federal crime, but he avoids prison time for trafficking, sparking massive outrage from the public, victims, and activists who believe the verdict reflects how the justice system continues to protect the powerful. Within minutes of the verdict going public, 50 posted a stark message on Instagram that read, "Guilty is guilty, don't matter the charge." Those 5 words carried more weight than most think. For years, 50 Cent has been one of the only celebrities in the music industry to boldly criticize Diddy, sometimes with humor, sometimes with pointed accusation, but always without fear. So this wasn't just a hot take, it was personal. He followed up with another post. Now, let's see who's still standing next to him. Y'all heard them stories, now you got the paperwork. He paired the caption with a heavily edited image of Diddy behind bars. Not a Photoshop joke, but a symbolic warning to everyone still protecting the bad boy mogul. And then came the real. In a clip posted to his 32 million followers, 50 said on camera, "You can clean it up however you want, but guilty is guilty. Ain't no dressing that up. If they found you responsible for hurting people, that's what you are, period."
He would do a lot of foul shit, like behind the sines, he would do some foul shit, like hating on, like doing things with people I done business with that he done business with. He would say shit that I was like, he said that to you?
Right.
I was like, yeah, so all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and niggas don't know what they like till they see somebody with it. So they want the girls after you're done with them and shit.
Yeah, leftovers.
Yeah.
You take your leftovers. A lot of niggas have my leftovers.
He didn't name Diddy directly in that clip, but he didn't have to. The timing, the tone, and the message made it crystal clear who he was talking about. What makes this hit even harder is that 50 Cent has a history of calling this out, long before the public saw court documents or heard testimonies. Over the past decade, he's posted cryptic captions, shared stories from behind the scenes, and warned people to watch who you party with. He's even hinted that there are more names connected to Diddy than most people realize, suggesting that the surface of the scandal is only just beginning to crack. His post-verdict reaction felt like a mic drop. But it wasn't about clout, it was about vindication. 50's stance has always been that the industry protects its own until it can't anymore. And now, with a guilty verdict, even if it wasn't for every charge, he's reminding the world that silence equals complicity. the comments under his posts exploded. Thousands of fans, creators, and even influencers weighed in, some praising 50 for always keeping it real, others calling him the only celebrity brave enough to say what everyone's thinking. And here's the truth, 50's words didn't just go viral, they added pressure. Pressure on the industry to respond, pressure on former collaborators to choose sides, and pressure on the media to stop downplaying what the verdict really means. For 50 Cent, this wasn't just about headlines, it was about accountability. And as he's made clear before, he doesn't care who's offended. The moment the verdict hit, guilty on prostitution, cleared of sex trafficking, something shifted. For many, it wasn't a relief. It wasn't closure, it was an outrage, and no one voiced that anger louder than 50 Cent. After years of warning people about Diddy's alleged behavior, 50 didn't celebrate the partial conviction. He slammed it. His message was clear. This wasn't justice. This was damage control. He reposted headlines, edited Diddy into mugshots, and dropped one brutal line that summed it all up. Guilty is guilty. Y'all letting him walk because it ain't the worst charge? That's how power works, not justice. For 50, this isn't just about Diddy, it's about what the system protects. To him, the fact that Diddy was found guilty of organizing and profiting from prostitution, a serious crime involving real victims, but avoided the heavier trafficking charge, says everything about how wealth bends the rules. And the public agrees. On social media, the reaction was explosive. Comments poured in from fans, survivors, activists, and even lawyers. As the verdict made headlines, public reaction was swift and emotional.
It's an atrocity. It's a disgusting decision.
I was definitely hoping for him to be charged with the trafficking.
Ashley Potter says the jury ruling sent a clear message to women across the country.
I think it stays the same. We're expected to stay quiet or deal with it.
Many people flooded social media with messages of support for the victims, especially those who had spoken out despite the risks. Comment sections, threads, and videos were filled with one repeated message. They deserved real justice. The anger wasn't just directed at Diddy, it was aimed at the legal system itself, which many now see as broken. People are calling it a joke, a performance, a system that punishes the poor but protects the powerful. The sentiment was loud and clear. If Diddy had been anyone else, he'd be in prison. But because he's rich, connected, and famous, he walked away with just part of the truth exposed. For many, the verdict didn't bring closure. It brought a deeper sense of betrayal. Thousands of users reposted 50 Cent's comments, calling him the only one with a spine in Hollywood. Others began stitching old interviews of Diddy denying everything with footage of the guilty verdict.
And it turns out that it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. The other end of that, every person who has tried to speak out about this, who has tried to speak out about the industry, the type of people that are controlling the industry, the attacks that people face from the media if they try to speak out, is always the same. They're called crazy. And an example of one such individual who went through those sorts of attacks is the actor Orlando Brown. He was on Disney, and I remember everyone telling us that he was totally insane and deranged when he was saying a lot of things that at the time sounded crazy, particularly about Diddy. Take a listen.
The requirement is you gotta say no to Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he's gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
You can take the but he won't you.
Diddy, to me, is the fall guy. We are still seeing a major effort to protect the big names, just like with Jeffrey Epstein.
Highlighting the disgust people felt watching someone so powerful walk away with what many felt was a slap on the wrist. TikTok creators made comparisons to the O.J. Simpson trial, calling Diddy's partial acquittal a modern version of the same story. A powerful man, surrounded by lawyers, escaping the full consequences of his actions. Others compared the case to Harvey Weinstein, but with Diddy's version still missing the prison sentence. The rage isn't just about the verdict, it's about the silence. Why are so many A-listers quiet? Why are major outlets softening their language? Why is someone found guilty in federal court still able to walk free, with no jail time and no statement of apology or accountability? People are saying what 50's been saying for years. They knew, they looked away, and now they're hoping it all fades. 50's frustration has ignited something. A wave of distrust in not just Diddy, but the system, the industry, and the elite circles that protect their own. His anger isn't performative, it's personal. He's seen too many people silenced, paid off, or broken behind the scenes, why stars keep shining in the public eye. Now, the guilty verdict confirms that something criminal did happen. But for many, it doesn't feel like justice. It feels like a deal was made, and the victims are still waiting for the real accountability. And if 50 Cent has anything to do with it, he's not letting this end here. The tension between 50 Cent and Diddy has been simmering since the early 2000s. At the time, Diddy had already built his bad boy empire with artists like the notorious B.I.G., Mace, and Faith Evans. He was the polished mogul, known for champagne, red carpets, and industry power moves. Meanwhile, 50 was just rising from the streets of Queens after surviving a near-fatal shooting. When he signed with Eminem's Shady Records in 2002, everything changed. His debut album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', made him a force the industry couldn't ignore. From the start, their styles clashed. Diddy represented the flashy corporate side of hip-hop, all image and luxury. 50 represented the raw, street-hardened hustle. And he didn't waste time calling Diddy out for being, in his words, fake. His diss in Wanksta mocked Diddy's shiny suit persona, and in Many Men, the tone got even darker, taking aim at betrayal and the behind-the-scenes politics of the industry. Things escalated when 50 accused Diddy of trying to take credit for other artists' success and manipulating the business from behind the scenes. Diddy didn't stay quiet either. He clapped back on social media, telling 50 to stay out of my lane, and flaunted his business accomplishments. Lines were drawn. Diddy's circle included Jay-Z and Nas, while 50 had Eminem and Dr. Dre in his corner. By 2005, as The Massacre dropped, their beef was fully public. Diddy called 50's music one-dimensional, and 50 saw that as another personal shot. What began as industry rivalry turned into a deeply personal feud, one driven by ego, power, and two completely different visions of what hip-hop should be. And from that point on, they were locked in a cold war, one that's still heating up today. Before the lawsuits, before the federal raids, before the courtrooms, 50 Cent was already talking, loudly, repeatedly, and unapologetically. Long before the mainstream media caught on, 50 Cent was one of the only figures in hip-hop consistently calling out Diddy, not just for shady business dealings, but for what he hinted was a much darker lifestyle happening behind closed doors. Over the past decade, 50's Instagram feed, interviews, and public jabs formed a timeline of warnings, most dismissed as trolling, clout chasing, or beef. But now, people are looking back and realizing he might have been telling the truth all along. In 2014, 50 Cent famously joked during an interview, "Yo, Diddy's parties? I don't go to them joints. You walk in there a man, and you might leave confused." It sounded like a punchline, but many are now re-watching that clip in a whole new light, as a veiled warning about what allegedly happened at those exclusive parties Diddy was known for. Then came the Instagram posts. Over the years, 50 consistently made cryptic and not-so-cryptic posts about Diddy's behavior, his relationships with young artists, and what 50 called a pattern of manipulation. He accused Diddy of moving funny with certain male artists, of controlling people around him with money and influence, and of using his position to cover up things that would ruin anyone else's career.
So 50 Cent came out and congratulated Diddy on getting not guilty on the RICO charges, which was the most serious of the charges, and called him the gay John Gotti. Here's my thing though, he may have beat the RICO charges, but it was definitely exposed that Diddy is into dudes and dude secretions. Like, he's into that guy gravy. Wouldn't life in prison have been like kind of a party for him? He might not have had as much baby oil, but he definitely could have had a whole lot of semen all over him.
When the Cassie lawsuit dropped in 2023, alleging abuse, control, and years of trauma, 50's reaction was instant. When people tell you who they are, believe them. Y'all still acting surprised? He didn't gloat, he confirmed. To 50, this wasn't shocking news, it was validation. He'd been trying to tell the world, and now the court system was finally catching up. He even went after media outlets, calling them out for covering for Diddy for years. Some of y'all knew. You was at the parties. You saw what went down, and you ain't say nothing. That's worse. Now, after the verdict, 50 is being hailed as one of the only insiders who spoke up early and often. People who once accused him of stirring drama are now replaying his interviews, reading between the lines of his old tweets, and realizing he might have been the whistleblower the industry ignored. But the real twist? 50 never needed a lawsuit to speak up. He didn't wait for headlines or viral clips. He said what others wouldn't, when it wasn't safe, when it wasn't popular, and when it could have cost him everything. With the verdict out and the industry shaken, fans are watching 50 Cent closely. Some believe he's just getting started. Rumors are already swirling that 50 is planning a docu-series or podcast to expose even more secrets from inside the music world. Others say he may be working behind the scenes with investigators or legal teams. He's also hinted at having more receipts. And if history tells us anything, 50 doesn't bluff. Whether it's through social media, a TV project, or another bombshell post, one thing is clear: 50 isn't done talking. Not by a long shot. So now it's official. Diddy has been found guilty, but not for everything he was accused of. The sex trafficking charges dropped. The deeper crimes the public feared most, unpunished. And while the legal system may call this justice, to many, it feels like yet another powerful man walking away with a slap on the wrist. The evidence was there, the testimonies were real, the pain was undeniable. But the system still flinched. 50 Cent called it. The victims warned us. And now, even with a guilty verdict, the bigger questions remain. Who else was involved? Who else stayed silent? And will anyone ever truly be held accountable? Because this story isn't just about Diddy, it's about every name behind the scenes, every secret that hasn't come out yet, and a culture that still protects the powerful over the victims. Stay locked in. This isn't over, not even close.